Hi, my name is Garrett Guenther, and I'm here today to do my final presentation for food service management at Kendall College. Our assignment was to interview a higher up in the food service industry, managers, chefs, someone like that. I decided to interview my old boss at the restaurant I used to work at. The name of the restaurant is Last Chance Lakeside Cafe. It is located in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. I worked there for 2 years, 1 year being under this man as general manager full-time. He was full-time for about 1.5 years when I started. He has been working at this restaurant for about 10 years now. At least he started as a server and worked his way up to bartender and eventually general manager. So he was hired from within. He shares his general managing duties somewhat, kinda, with one of the part owners. I asked him, several questions about what he deals with on a day-to-day basis, as well as a few questions about his philosophy on managing people. The first question I asked him was about what challenges does he face, and he said that the biggest challenge for him is unforeseen circumstances. He talked about how the food service industry is ever changing and no one can really predict how customers will react towards certain products. He told me that the answer to this issue was constantly researching clientele, staying current on the industry, and keeping up with fads, because Lord knows people love a good fad and will pay for it. The second question I asked concerned communication barriers in the industry. He talked about how everyone in the industry should be personally accountable for communication, because if one person doesn't communicate in the restaurant during a service, then the whole restaurant suffers. He mentioned how employees don't ask questions and act alone to fix an issue. Usually they just mess it up more. I can personally attest to this because I used to work with him. For instance, and this was the big one, when a kitchen would run out of something during a service and a server never bothered to ask if we were out or whatever, and rung up said product, then the manager would have to go to that table and explain to the customer how we ran out of it. And that's just never a good thing. It makes the customer unhappy, which can affect profitability. The third question I asked him dealt with how he resolves conflict. He resolves conflict based on a cost-benefit analysis, saying if a conflict cannot be resolved, then the employee with the least value will be let go. I know for a fact that he absolutely hates letting customers see issues within the restaurant, and he feels that really negatively affects business, and obviously letting customers see a squabble between two employees makes the customer feel like the restaurant is not fit to be open, I guess is the phrase I'm looking for. Next question I asked him dealt with how he deals with the stress of the job. And I know every night after all of his managerial duties are done and the restaurant's closed down for the night, that he sits at the bar and watches some sporting event on TV and drinks a beer or two. I know that's how he deals with the stress of the job. Whenever he doesn't do this, you can tell he gets burnt out. Which is one of the things he says to try and avoid at all costs. Letting yourself get burnt out it develops a resentment for your job, I guess. If you stress yourself out, you don't want to do the job anymore, you start doing a bad job. You know. I know Matt leads a very demanding life in various aspects. You know, he's dealing with a divorce, he has a kid in the divorce, but stuff like that. Yet he still manages to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week at the restaurant. Next question I asked was about his decision-making process. Again, he said that the cost-benefit analysis is the best way, and I know this, that this decision-making process is the best because whatever he decides is working, because he's been increasing sales over the last general manager. So